this video today we'll be focusing on the quick and brief history of Ukraine, so stay tuned and enjoy. We begin with the state of the Kievan Rus, a medieval confederation of princes centered around the city of Kiev. It was formed under the Viking Varangians in the 9th century, and the first ruler of these Vikings was Rurik, who started the Rurikovich dynasty and would go on to rule the country until the 13th century. This is also the starting point of the history of Russia, but this video is only focusing on Ukraine. An important descendant of Rurik was Vladimir the Great, who accepted Orthodox Christianity and converted the Rus from Slavic paganism. All was going well for this country until the Mongols arrived. They conquered and sacked much of the country and cities, including the great city of Kiev. So later, as the Mongols started losing their grip on the region of Ruthenia, the Grand Duchy of Lithuania used this power vacuum to conquer the region. After this, Lithuania entered a state of union with the Polish crown. The southern parts was in the hands of the Crimean Tatars, who you guessed the ruler of the region of Crimea. Due to the harsh life, many peasants fled Russia and Ruthenia to the steppes, mixing with the Mongol descendants and creating a new breed of people called the Cossacks. Now the Cossacks were a self-governing, semi-militaristic, Orthodox East Slavic group of people who fought for freedom from those who seek to subdue them. Even the word Cossack is of Turkish origin, meaning free man. As the Cossacks grew in numbers, they demanded more and more autonomy for their Orthodox Ukrainian customs and traditions. The Polish crown refused this offer, and in 1648 the Cossacks rebelled, allying themselves with the neighboring Russians. They entered the 31-year-long period called the Ruin, which was basically a war, and Russia eventually won the war and took a large part of Ruthenia for themselves. Now in the 19th century, around 200,000 Ukrainians living in Russia decided to move to Siberia and another 100,000 to Central Asia. Upon completion of the Trans-Siberian Railway, 1.6 million Ukrainian settlers arrived at the Russian Far East, in the area that became known as Green Ukraine. World War I came, Russia lost the war and had a communist takeover. The Ukraine was renamed into the Ukrainian People's Republic in 1917. The first ruler of this USSR was called Lenin, who improved many aspects of everyday life, such as education, women's rights, and healthcare. In 1928, Lenin died and Stalin came to power. He began the next year the process of collectivization and forced industrialization. The collectivization process came to be known as the Holodomor, where the wealthy farmers, or the kulaks as they were known, had parts of their land taken away and given to the less fortunate peasants under joint control. Stalin's idea of collectivization was to produce more grain for the growing Soviet population. A big problem with this process was that it did not work. Many kulaks who opposed Stalin were either deported to worker camps or Siberia. To be more specific, around 300,000 people. The entire south of the Soviet Union suffered, but Ukraine was hit the hardest, where the rates of collectivization were much higher. Many peasants died or fled the neighboring Poland due to the lack of food and harsh treatment. At the end of this, the death toll in Ukraine was around 3 million, and 8 million across the entire USSR. To this day, it is still up to discussion whether was it a genocide or not, with one side saying it is and the other saying it isn't. After Stalin came Khrushchev, who empathized with the Ukrainian people and tried to grow Russia and Ukraine closer together, even giving them Crimea in 1954 in the Treaty of Pereyaslav. Another disaster that hit Ukraine was in 1986, the Chernobyl power plant, where reactor 4 malfunctioned and caused a massive ecological catastrophe. In 1991, the USSR broke up and Ukraine gained its long-awaited independence. I hope you all liked the video. If you did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It's a win-win for both of us.